There's something that happens in a garden that every grower has experienced at least once. You walk out in the morning, coffee in hand, feeling good about the day, and then you see it. The tomato plant that looked perfect yesterday is covered in holes. The leaves look like something took scissors to them overnight. And you didn't hear a thing, you didn't see a thing, but something was out there and it ate well. I'm Jacob Amish, and today I want to share something with you that changed the way I think about protecting a garden. It's a remedy that costs less than $1 to make, uses ingredients most people already have sitting in their kitchen, and it has been quietly passed down through generations of farmers long before commercial pesticides ever existed. By the time we're done here, you're going to know exactly how to make it, when to use it, and why it actually works. Let's start with what's really going on out there in your garden when you're not watching. Most people think of pests as an occasional nuisance. A few bugs here and there, no big deal. But what's actually happening underneath those leaves is closer to a full-scale invasion. Aphids, tiny, almost invisible, latch onto the soft undersides of your stems and literally drain the sap out of your plants like a mosquito drains blood. And one female aphid can produce up to 80 offspring in a single week without even needing a mate. Spider mites spin webs so fine you can barely see them, slowly suffocating leaves from the inside out. Caterpillars chew through foliage like tiny machines that never get tired. And while you're sleeping, they're multiplying. Now, the standard answer to all of this has been the same for decades. Reach for a chemical spray. And look, it works at first. The pests die, the garden looks clean, and you feel like you won. But here's what most people don't realize. The weakest insects die first, the stronger ones survive, and they breed. Within just a few generations, the same chemical that wiped out their grandparents does absolutely nothing to them. Scientists call it pesticide resistance. Farmers just call it a nightmare. And it gets worse. Those chemicals don't just kill the bad guys. They kill the ladybugs that eat aphids by the hundreds. They kill the bees that pollinate a third of everything on your dinner table. Spray enough of it, and eventually you're left with a garden that has no natural defenders, just a stronger, more resistant pest population. There's an old saying that goes, "The quick fix is the slow disaster." In gardening, that is exactly what's been happening for years. So what's the answer? It's been sitting in your kitchen the whole time. And it's garlic. Now I know what you're thinking. Garlic? Really? But hear me out, because the science behind this is genuinely fascinating. A whole clove of garlic sitting on your counter smells like almost nothing. It's quiet, harmless. But the second you crush that clove, the moment those cell walls break open, a chemical reaction takes place. An enzyme called alliinase meets a compound called alliin, and together they produce something called allicin. Allicin is a volatile sulfur-based molecule, and it is one of the most powerful natural defense compounds on the planet. When allicin gets into the air around a plant, it overwhelms the sense of smell that pests rely on to find their food. The plant essentially becomes invisible to them. The aphids can't find it, the moths can't locate it. The scent trail that brought them to your garden in the first place gets completely scrambled. But allicin doesn't stop there. For any insect that does land on a treated leaf, it acts as a direct irritant, disrupting their metabolism, destroying their appetite, making every surface feel hostile and unbearable. And the best part? Allicin is toxic to destructive insects, but completely harmless to humans, pets, and the beneficial insects you actually want around. The same garlic you put in your pasta sauce is the same garlic that protects your garden. Nothing synthetic, nothing dangerous. Now, garlic alone is powerful, but we're going to make it even stronger by adding one more ingredient: hot chili peppers. The compound that makes chili peppers hot is called capsaicin, and while we've learned to enjoy that burn on our food, for an insect it is something else entirely. Capsaicin locks onto specific receptors in an insect's nervous system. What the insect experiences isn't a flavor or a mild irritation, it's the sensation of being on fire. They stop eating immediately. They abandon the leaf, the stem, the flower, they flee. And in higher concentrations, capsaicin doesn't just repel them, it damages their cell membranes, causing paralysis and death, all without leaving any toxic residue on your vegetables. When you combine garlic and chili in a single spray, something really special happens. The garlic masks the garden, making your plants invisible to pests searching from a distance. The chili punishes anything bold enough to land anyway. One defends, the other attacks. Together, they create a defense system that most common garden pests simply cannot handle. So let's make it. Here's the recipe, and I promise it's almost embarrassingly simple. You'll need 2 to 3 full heads of fresh garlic. That's roughly 20 to 25 cloves. 5 to 10 fresh hot chili peppers. Jalapenos, serranos, or Thai chilies all work great. Use red ones when you can because fully ripe red chilies contain significantly more capsaicin than green ones. 1 quart of water, about 4 cups, and 1 teaspoon of mild liquid soap. Pure Castile soap works best, but a gentle dish soap will do the job. If you want to take it one step further, add 2 teaspoons of cold-pressed neem oil. Neem contains a compound called azadirachtin that disrupts the growth cycle of insects. It doesn't just deal with the pests that are there now, it prevents the next generation from ever hatching. The EPA has officially recognized neem oil as a safe and effective organic pesticide. That's not folk wisdom, that's federal-level science. Here's how you make it. Put on a pair of gloves first. Capsaicin and your eyes are a combination you want to avoid. Take your garlic cloves and your chili peppers and keep the seeds and inner white ribs of the chilies in. That's where 80% of the capsaicin lives. Chop everything roughly, then blend it or crush it well with a mortar and pestle. You want to break every cell wall to release as much allicin and capsaicin as possible. Put the crushed mixture into a glass jar, a mason jar is perfect, and pour your water over it. Here's a tip most recipes skip. Use distilled water or collected rainwater if you can. The chlorine and minerals in regular tap water can bind to capsaicin molecules and reduce their potency. That one small step can make a real difference in how well your spray performs. Seal the jar and let it steep in a cool, dark cupboard for 24 to 48 hours. This is where the water pulls out all those volatile oils and compounds. After steeping, strain the liquid through a fine mesh strainer or cheesecloth into your spray bottle and squeeze the pulp. There's still good medicine left in there. Add your teaspoon of liquid soap and your neem oil if you're using it, then swirl gently. That soap is not optional, by the way. Garlic oil and chili oil don't naturally mix with water. Without the soap, they separate and half your spray ends up on the ground. The soap acts as an emulsifier, binding the oil and water together into a uniform solution. It also breaks the surface tension of the liquid, letting it cling to the waxy surface of leaves and coat the bodies of insects directly instead of just rolling off. The soap is what makes this spray actually work the way it's supposed to. Now let's talk about timing, because this is the part that separates the gardeners who say this is a miracle from the ones who say it doesn't work. If you apply this spray in the middle of a hot day, when the temperature is above 85 degrees, those natural oils will amplify the sun's heat on the leaf surface. The capsaicin reacts with the plant's chlorophyll, and instead of protecting your plants, the spray will burn them. You'll wake up the next morning to scorched, wilting leaves, and you'll blame the recipe. But the recipe was fine. The timing was wrong. Rule 1. Spray early or spray late. The best windows are between 6 and 9 in the morning or in the evening after the sun starts to set. Cool air, gentle light, no damage. Rule 2. Spray the undersides. That's where 70% of pests, aphids, whiteflies, spider mites, hide, feed, and lay their eggs. Spraying only the tops of the leaves is like locking your front door and leaving the back wide open. Lift the foliage and get underneath. That's where the battle is won. Rule 3. Repeat every 4 to 5 days and after any rain. This isn't a synthetic chemical that bonds permanently to the leaf. Rain washes it away, time breaks it down. Consistency is what makes it work. Now let me be honest with you about what this spray can and can't do, because trust is built on truth, not hype. This spray works by penetrating soft tissue and overwhelming the nervous system of small, soft-bodied insects. Hard-shelled adult beetles, like Japanese beetles, have a thick exoskeleton that capsaicin can't get through. Slugs and snails produce a layer of mucus that acts as a chemical barrier. Internal feeders like leaf miners, which burrow deep inside the stems, are out of reach of a surface spray. Knowing the limits up front is what separates a frustrated gardener from an effective one. Here's what it does do. The morning after a proper application, the soft-bodied invaders, aphids, mealybugs, spider mites, young caterpillars, are either gone or dead. Studies have documented that a properly made garlic and chili spray can reduce aphid colonies by up to 78%. Diamondback moth populations and flea beetles drop dramatically. And when it's applied correctly, meaning not directly into open flower blossoms, the bees keep working, the ladybugs keep eating, the butterflies keep visiting. A synthetic chemical pesticide kills everything it touches. This spray targets the invaders and leaves the allies standing. That is the difference between a weapon and a strategy. I'll close with this. The global pesticide industry is worth over $60 billion a year. It runs on a business model that depends on your garden being a recurring problem. When chemical sprays kill the beneficial predators alongside the pests and degrade your soil's natural defenses over time, the pest problem comes back worse the following season, and you buy another bottle. That cycle is enormously profitable for someone. A homemade spray made from garlic and chili peppers for less than $1 does not fit that model. Nobody can patent garlic. Nobody can trademark a chili pepper. And that is exactly why this kind of knowledge doesn't get advertised. But it does get shared. Neighbor to neighbor, gardener to gardener, one generation to the next. The way good knowledge has always traveled. If you've got a garden out there, a backyard plot, a few raised beds, even some pots on a balcony, this remedy is ready for it. A few cloves of garlic, a handful of chilies, a little soap, 24 hours of patience, and a quiet evening to walk outside and spray. That's it. No harsh chemicals, no expensive products, no harm to the bees or the soil that makes everything grow. Just what the earth provided, used the way it was always meant to be used. Give it a try. And if it works for you, share it with someone who grows things.